One clothing brand, 40% drop in cost per purchase. Different brand, cut their ad spend by a third. Revenue went up. Another brand, first profitable month after 6 straight months of burning budget. Same platform, same year, completely different results. Now, here is the difference. Meta changed in 2026, and more recently, the brands still running ads are running ads the old way. Interest stacks, manual audiences, detailed targeting, all of these ABO, random campaigns. They're funding the brands that figured out the new way. Today, I'm gonna show you exactly what changed, the 2 strategies working right now for clothing brands, and a live campaign build, Claude AI to ads manager, start to finish. Now, the villain in this story is not Meta. The villain is the playbook that worked in 2020, honestly 2019, and stopped working quietly, while a lot of clothing brand founders kept running it anyway. And I see a ton of YouTube videos out there right now, and I'm like, what are people doing and why are they saying this? Interest targeting, detailed audiences, manually telling Meta who to show your ads to. Meta literally told you what to do and how to do it. And if you found that or used their information, you're going to get results. That playbook that people were using is dead. Not dying, literally dead. You're working so much harder, especially with AI and the more and more that Meta is going to take away from the advertiser. It is so much more about the little things here. And in 2026 and beyond, Meta's algorithm knows more about your customer than probably you do. It knows purchase history, browse behavior, credit card data partnerships. When you add interest targeting on top of that, you're not helping it, you're limiting it. We had a guy inside of our community. We have a system, we call it the optimized store owner. A guy who literally was like, hey, I'm not getting much results. I'm spending like $75, $80, $100 a day for 7 days. And I was like, hey, let's see your structure. What's going on, right? Just because, you know, not everybody who goes with us is scaling in week 1. So I said, what's going on? He's like, oh, I narrowed it by this audience. I did this many detailed targetings, whatever else. And I was just like, nicely, like, hey, did you check out the framework that we teach? Did you go through that checklist? Have you met with our team to kind of go through the ads? No. I watched some YouTube video and this is what he said to do. It's like, okay. Anyway, if you're running Facebook ads for your clothing brand and you're not profitable, or you were profitable and you stop being profitable, this video is exactly why and exactly how to fix it. By the way, my name is Aaron. I'm one of the co-founders here at BitBranding. We work exclusively with clothing brand founders on growth, profitability, and paid ads. If that's you, subscribe. There's new videos every single week on how to grow your clothing brand. All right, now at the end of this video, I'm gonna be giving away the exact campaign structure, template, and launch checklist we use for every single client that we onboard, the full setup, every setting, every creative spec. Stay for that. Now, 3 things that changed on Meta in 2026 that every clothing brand founder needs to understand. Shift number 1, the algorithm outperforms human targeting. It has for a very long period of time, but really in 2026, it's become really good. Meta has more data on your customer than you do, like full stop, okay? When you set detailed targeting, you're not giving Meta a head start. You're putting a ceiling on who it can find. Shift number 2, creative is now the targeting. This is the biggest mindset shift in paid ads right now. People still wanna do this TOF, MOF, BOF, top of the funnel, middle funnel, bottom of the funnel. Meta reads your ad, the hook, the copy, and the visuals, and uses every word as a signal to find the right person. If your hook says, the softest pajamas for sensitive skin, Meta finds parents of kids who have sensitive skin. You didn't target them, the creative did, all right? And so if you have content, which we'll get into a little bit later, if you have content that's more top of the funnel focused, right, just more education based, then you're gonna reach a wider audience. If you have something that's like more review related, it's like once people are already solution aware, they're already aware of your pajama company or aware of your streetwear brand or aware of your athletic line, then it's going to target people who have already seen your brand more than likely or are more likely to take action. Now, if you're new here and thinking broad targeting doesn't work, that was true in like 2018. It is the opposite of true in 2026 and beyond. The brands winning on Meta right now stopped fighting the algorithm and started feeding it. That's what today is about. And I'll tell you this because I think it's really important, which is that the people who have large budgets to spend per day, they can do these ABO campaigns and put things into different buckets and call them whatever they would like. But the only reason that any of those buckets can spin spend, or they have to like force spend in a certain area for the creative, is because they have a large budget. Not $100 a day or $1,000 a day, but very large budgets to do that. If you are like most brand owners who are starting out, maybe you're at $100, $200, $300 a day, that's still not viable for you. Now, like I mentioned earlier, there's brands that we are working with that are spending $5,000, $6,000 and plus dollars per day. That strategy could potentially work for them too, but just because it could work doesn't mean that they aren't bleeding money in areas and they're spending inefficiently. Okay, so you've really got to understand this simple almost always wins. And if you don't believe me, look at anything else in your life, and when you overcomplicated it, was it a good idea? Shift number 3, Advantage Plus is the default environment. Okay, so Advantage Plus placements, audiences, creative, which I don't like whenever the creative is completely taken over, so we'll get into that part. But for the most part, I want it to run everywhere. I want it to look good, so I'll have to double check it. But for the most part, I'm letting it run everywhere. Advantage Plus placements, audiences, creative, these are not optional features anymore. The brands winning are building their campaigns for this environment. The brands losing are trying to fight it. Now there's 2 strategies. Strategy 1, the campaign structure. Strategy number 2, the creative system. Built with Claude AI, then loaded into Ads Manager Live. Let's start with the structure. Okay, so here's the campaign structure we set up for every clothing brand we work with. So it's one campaign. You can label it however you would like. We typically tell them to say this is somebody who is in part of our ecosystem. So we would tell them to label it and put something about bit branding or OSO or whatever it be. But regardless, it's a sales campaign. They just happen to label it conversion. Okay, so it's one campaign. It's a CBO, meaning that it's campaign budget optimization. All right, so the budget is distributed. Right, Meta controls the budget allocation. Inside, there are going to be 3 to 5 different ad sets. We have 3 current ones going on right now. Sometimes we can get up to 5, sometimes a little bit more, just depending on budget. But again, this is $5,000 a day. This is 3 ad sets. We had up to 5, but every ad set is broad, no interest, no detailed targeting, no lookalikes. So there's age range, there's gender if it's relevant, and there's location. That's it. And honestly, when I say location, I mean like country. Okay, I had some brands that were like, oh, I'm gonna do the coastal parts of the United States. Like, don't do that. You have no clue if the dude who's in Florida right now used to live in Kansas and now is over there, and it doesn't really know whether or not he's like living there, or maybe he has family in Kansas or whatever. It doesn't matter, but like, just think of it as a country, okay? Unless you're truly like driving people to your like brick and mortar location, then sure, do a radius. But for most of the conversations we're having, not really the case. So you're giving Meta the maximum possible runway to find your buyer, and in 2026 it will find them. It really will. It has nothing to do with finding them as much as it does like people's creative, which we'll talk about in a second. People's creative is just not good. A lot of AI slop, a lot of thought processes that really weren't thought through, but it's faster and cheaper than you could ever do manually. Like again, I'll roll into this on the ad set level, and it's very straightforward. There is no specific targeting that is going on in here. This is it, right? And the Advantage Plus placements is on. So there's a brand that I was talking about previously, and I've talked about them in a video. So they sell, let's just say, pajamas. It's technically a wider variety than just that, but the pajamas were great. The problem became, basically they had multiple campaigns set up. So we had one client, they were a athletic line, and they had so many different campaigns set up. Some that were going after the top of the funnel and the middle of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel, and they had exclusions set up where it was like, I want to exclude everybody who's purchased in the last 30 days. I want to include everybody who was engaged in the last 180. It was just an absolute mess. There were so many different campaigns. They also did ones right here where it was like traffic. So you can see like affiliate links were going on, purchases getting up to 150, 113, which for some of you guys, that's completely like, it's a really good cost per purchase for some of our brands that are selling $2,000 and $3,000 products. But like, right, like this is a quote unquote testing campaign. $184 per purchase, to give you context, for like 40 to 75, even $100 leggings, you lose money, okay? So not a good result. These are way too high. This is burning capital. Until they figure it out, you literally just need to have one campaign, right? This structure works, but the structure only works if you feed it the right creative. And I would say, honestly, if they had decent creative or spoke to their audience correctly, even with the wrong structure, they probably would have done a little bit better. So it was a combination of 2 things here, and the biggest one is that if you don't feed this with the right creative, it's not gonna work. Now, stop. Before I show you the Ads Manager manager build, I need to show you something first, because this is the step most clothing brands skip entirely. It's the reason their creative doesn't work. And most brands sit down to make an ad and they just start writing, or they just go directly to like ChatGPT and they just come up with something, right? They think of a headline, they write some copy, they pick a photo, or they'll go to the ads library and just copy and paste what a competitor does that they think is bigger. Most of the time it's competitor and they're like, well, this brand makes $100 million a year and I make zero, they're a competitor. It's like, not really, right? But then they wonder why Meta can't find their customer. So remember shift 2, creative is the targeting. So before you write a single word of ad copy, you need to know exactly who you're talking to and exactly what to say. That's what Claude builds right now live. So I suggest to download the Claude desktop app. And if you have not yet, please go watch the Claude 101 for clothing brands, because it talks about system prompts and how to create assigned roles for each area of your business. And I dive deep into that. But you download the desktop app, you can use chat here. That's probably the basic ones we got. And I want to give you a prompt here for your avatar. So I'm going to read this. I would also suggest, I always tell people there's an app called Whisperflow to make this so much faster. So now it's listening here for dictation. You are a direct response copywriter for a direct consumer clothing brand. Build a detailed audience avatar for Buff Bow Golf. This is Buff, BUFFBO.com. Include 1, demographics and psychographics. 2, core pain points and desires. And 3, the specific language the customer uses. Number 4, their objection before buying. And 5, what makes them finally say yes? All right, let's send that and see what comes back. All right, so let's look at this section right here. So demographics, mom and dad, 28 to 44, dual income, suburban, south, southeast, midwest, golf, okay, psychographics, golf is their happy place. Kids' golf clothes are either boring, plain, or look like they're shrunken old man golf wear. Generic kids' clothing falls apart after a few rounds, bad value. Core desire, a brand that gets into junior golf, not just adult clothes in small sizes. The specific language they use, I can't find anything that fits my 4-year-old that doesn't look like he's wearing his dad's polo. My dad wants to take my son golfing for his birthday. What do I even buy a 6-year-old golfer? He wore his golf outfit on his lesson and he felt so proud, worth every penny. So this right here, these are the exact words your customer uses when they talk about this problem. Not the words you think they use, the words they actually type. This is what your ad hooks are built from. So based on the avatar, write 10 Facebook ad hook variations for Buff Bow. Mix pain point hooks, curiosity hooks, social proof hooks, direct offer hooks, under 8 seconds to read aloud. Use the exact customer language from the avatar. Okay, golf clothes for kids ages 2T, the official outfit, direct, quick reference, curiosity hooks, motivation, $200. I do like this curiosity one. So why the outfit your kid wears to the golf course matters more than you think. I'd probably think about that a little bit. What do you get a kid who just fell in love with golf? Not another plastic putter. That's good. Social proof. 10,000 junior golfers are already wearing this. Yours is next. I kind of like that. Direct offer hooks. Looking for the perfect golf gift. Course ready kids golf clothes. Finally designed for kids, not shrunk down adults. Okay, I like that. That's the one, right? That's the hook. The customer wrote that hook. Claude just found it. I think these are, like I said, these are good right here. That's the difference between an ad Meta can target and one it can't. All right, so for this third prompt, I want you to build a complete creative brief for Buff Bow. Include 1 30-second UGC style video script using the top hook, written as a real customer talking to camera. Number 2, a static image ad headline, primary text and description, call to action. Number 3, carousel, so 3 cards with a headline and body copy. Number 4, creative direction notes for visual, mood, and tone. All right, so in about 4 minutes, Claude just built an entire creative brief. Avatar, hooks, UGC scripts, static ad, carousel, creative direction. This is what goes into Ads Manager, not the guesswork, a brief. Now, to give you full context for this YouTube video, obviously we have multiple people kind of reviewing over this and like running it through a filter versus just copying and pasting. But for you, you know your brand, all right? And it's just a one-on-one or you and your team, so you can take this through your own lens and grab it and go. But here's the complete strategy setup, right? So 30-second UGC script on screen. Your son wants to feel like a real golfer. Plain polos aren't doing it. Then you got the hook. Okay, if you're a kid who's if you have a kid who's obsessed with golf, you need to hear this, because I spent way too long trying to find him something that didn't look ridiculous. It's good. All right, static images, all right? So the headlines, finally, golf clothes for kids who actually look like golfers. Asset 3, the carousel. So we got several different cards. First one is an image direction here. So the split image, left side is generic, boring, plain polo on a mannequin. Right side is a kid, buff bow gear, grinning on a tee box, okay? And then the headline, there's junior golf gear, and then there's everything else. We got the body copy, plain polos, boring designs, nothing made for a kid who actually loves the game. Buff bow golf changes that. Fun, high quality apparel built specifically for little golfers, 2T to 12. Okay, so a lot of good stuff in here, kind of breaks down, go into the color palette, etc. Okay, pulled it all there. But here's the complete setup here inside of Ads Manager. So we're gonna build this as one campaign, okay? We're gonna run it as a sales campaign. We have one CBO campaign. Meta controls the budget allocation, 3 to 5 ad sets, all broad, no interest targeting. Each ad set gets different creative, not different audiences. And I really like starting at like $30, $50 per day per campaign to give Meta enough data. Let it run to 7 days before touching anything. Simple. It's intentionally simple because the complexity is where the clothing brand ad accounts go to die. Now, look, all you gotta do is hit sales. Okay, you can label this as however you would like. I'm not gonna turn on the catalog, okay? It's gonna be campaign budget, not ad set budget. Daily budget here, said $50 a day, but more. There's nothing else that we're gonna do here. I do not have to change this. Existing audiences do not have to change this. You could go in here and edit for the advertising settings and make those changes. I'm leaving everything as is. Okay, so we're going for website, and then we're going for the max number of conversions, and then you want to pick a data set, okay? You can label that data set, basically previously called the pixel. And we're going for purchases. Attribution model, standard, keep that the same. Dynamic creative is technically, well, flexible is going away. Dynamic creative is a thing. It's all over the place. So we do not run that anymore. We just actually run one campaign, an ad set, which is like a concept or a view of something. So like, let's say, for example, like problems that people have with golfing with young kids, and then all the different types of creative that we could have inside of that little cluster, if you will. The audience receiving that, exactly where it's at, age, gender, location. You can show some more controls and further limit the reach of your ads, right? So further limit the reach of your ads, continue, right? And so you can get into the age, gender. Let's just say we know that all of these are women, okay? And then you can change the age range. All right, it's gonna fill in some creative for us, and that's it. Now here's where most brands stop. They've got the structure right, they've got the Claude creative brief, and they're still not profitable. And I know exactly why. It's because they think the creative and the campaign structure are two separate things. They're not. The creative is the campaign. Your hook tells Meta who to find. Your copy tells Meta who to convert. Your creative brief is your targeting strategy. Like, full stop. And I'm going to show you exactly how this works inside of Ads Manager right now. Here is the most important thing I can tell you about Facebook ads in 2026. Meta's algorithm reads your ad. Every word, hook, body, copy, headline, description, and it uses every word as a signal to find the right person. So when you say elevated style, or if your hook says looking for stylish streetwear, Meta finds people who want stylish streetwear. If your hook says tired of clothes that fall apart after 3 washes, Meta finds people frustrated with cheap quality. If your hook says the last hoodie you'll ever need to buy, Meta finds people ready to invest in something that lasts. Now, I will tell you right now, those are generic pieces of information, and most people are saying those exact same things, so don't do them. But 3 different hooks are gonna find 3 different audiences. Your targeting settings have changed it all. This is why the Claude creative brief matters so much. We didn't just write ad copy, we built targeting signals disguised as creative. So, we're gonna start a new campaign, take the Claude brief, right? And you can grab all this information and we could literally build it live. So we're gonna go to the ad. I can grab it, literally any information. This is not gonna be that actual account. We can do a manual upload of anything. choose the website URL. That is good. So we're gonna grab the primary text. Well, let's just grab this here for the text. We could space this out. I would use emojis. Here's the headline. Meta is gonna suggest different options for you. You can go through them and see if it actually makes sense or not. Again, you can tailor the variations to personas. We've tested this. Some of them do well, some of them don't. You should always review them. Make sure that it works well for what you've got, and make sure that it actually aligns with what the brief is talking about too. You can also have the brief, go back to Claude and just say, hey, create the 5 variations for me based off of the brief, and you could pull it in that way. But Meta's AI, worth testing as well. I always like to have a strong foundation for where we start. Claude Creative Brief on one side, Ads Manager on the other, right? Or different screens, and can just literally pull it in. So the ad set level, like I mentioned, here's where most brands make the mistake. They come in here and start adding interest. Don't leave it as broad. Age range, gender, if it applies, the location, that's it, right? The creative tells Meta everything else it needs to know, okay? We've gotten here, we've gotten this far. The headline goes here, the primary text goes here. The targeting signals are in the copy, right there. Meta reads that and it knows who to find, which is why it gave us all the other options, right? You need to have a call to action, again, shop now. For everything, for most clothing brands, you're gonna just do shop now. So that's one ad set. Technically, we could put all of this in there. So I want like one carousel, one UGC video, one image, right? We would have all of those in here. That's one ad set. And then I would build 2 more, right? With the same structure, different hook from the same brief, right? Different hook, different targeting signal, different audience Meta finds, same CBO, Meta figures out which one of those wins. Now, real quick, if you want somebody who actually understands clothing brands to look at your ad account with you, just book a free strategy call. Just check out the link in the description down below. So back to it. Now, while we're in Ads Manager, let me show you one more thing that makes everything we just built work even harder. So the Advantage Plus placements, you can turn these on or turn them off. They're completely fine, but once you actually go to start setting them up, okay, so you can turn that off, turn that on. So Meta automatically distributes your ad across every placement. The feed, the stories, Reels, Messenger, Audience Network, you don't pick that, right? So Meta does. You can actually go there and change that a little bit if you really wanted to. But in 2026, it's better at picking than probably you are. Now, one thing that you would want to do is just make sure to check each placement, right? What does this look like on mobile? What does this look like on desktop, right? This shows all 11 placements. And so you'd want to really go through here and make sure that, oh, this Instagram carousel looks good. So you could edit the placement and move it around or crop it or change it. You want to make sure that all of those are done because sometimes it crops it, okay? In Advantage Plus audience, Meta expanding beyond your defined audience to find people who are likely to convert. Okay, so in a broad targeting setup, this is pure upside. You've already removed the ceiling. Now Meta finds everyone worth it. Now, like I mentioned earlier, you have an option to narrow the audience. Just do it by age, gender, location. Everything else, just leave as is. All right, so let's finish the build. We have ad set 1 is loaded with hook 1 from Claude Brief. Now let's duplicate that load in second hook. Okay, all you have to do, you're just gonna hit quick duplicate and that's it. Then you just change the creator. Same structure, same broad audiences, different hook, right? Copy, paste, bring in the new creative, make sure the placements look good. And then you would, again, quick duplicate for the third one. Same thing, 3 hooks, 1 CBO campaign. Okay, so we have 1 campaign, 3 different ad sets. We could have 3 different types of creative in each ad set, so 9 total ads. We have ad set 1, it's the pain point hook, calling out the problem, and had multiple of those. Ad number 2 is the curiosity hook, okay, that opens up the loop and makes them need to know more. Ad 3 is social proof, and it leads with a result. Now, those are 3 ads for 3 ad sets. I would suggest to put more ads inside of there. For this example, it's where we're at. But Meta runs all 3, finds out which hook finds the most buyers. You scale that winner, you kill the other ones, right? If the ad set isn't working, right, then we turn it off completely. If some ads are working and some ads aren't, you get rid of the ads that aren't working. Don't touch it for like 3 to 5 days, right? This is kind of that learning phase. Do not touch anything, let it do its thing. Look at the cost per purchase, look at the return on ad spend, doesn't matter too much. Don't look at the click-through rate. The purchase metrics are the only things that really matter. Do you have a winner? Okay, if you do, great, scale it up. If not, pause the others, okay? Now, this gets into a little bit deeper conversation, but I always look at, let's say today is Monday, I would look at Sunday, Saturday, and Friday. If in that 3-day period, I am above break even and I'm a newer brand and my ads are making money, I'll go up by 5% that day. And then I'll do that again Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and Thursday. And always look 3 days in the rear. If I'm above my break even of where I need to be, right, then I will increase budget by 5%. How do you know that? You take your margins divided by 1. So if you have 60% margins, I think it's like 1.66. Roughly, you need a 2 ROAS for everything you spend on ads to be able to make your money back. Now, the last point matters. If the structure is right and Meta can't find buyers, the creative needs to go deeper, so go back to Claude. The loop between Claude and the ads manager, that is the system. All right, so there it is. 1 CBO campaign, 3 broad ad sets, creative built by Claude, the avatar, the hooks, the UGC script, the static copy, the placements, and audience, right? This is all ready to launch. This is the complete system. This is exactly what we set up before we spend a single dollar. The brands winning on Facebook right now are not spending more, they're spending smarter. They stopped fighting Meta and started feeding it. Creative first, structure second, and the algorithm does the rest. Now, I'm gonna give you the exact template we just built, the campaign structure checklist we use for every client launch, every setting, every toggle, every creative spec in order, so you can launch this campaign without missing a step. Even if you followed this video, but you still have questions and wondering, dang, what am I missing? If you want that checklist, this is the same checklist our team runs before we spend $1 of client money. I'm gonna give it to you for free. Just comment the word ads down below in the comments and I will send it straight to you. This is the campaign structure, ad set settings, creative specs, budget logic, the launch checklist, everything. All you gotta do is comment the word ads. Hey, and if you want us to look at your ad account, your campaign structure, your creative, your numbers, there is a free strategy call. Make sure that you go do that. Just check out the link in the description down below. Now, YouTube knows what you need to be watching next. It's one of these 2 videos right here. Go do that right now.